Okay, we're back working on the Tahoe. So the issue I was having was the cooling fans would just be running full blast even after I shut off the car for probably about 5 minutes. And then the temperature gauge on the inside would just be at zero, like the car wasn't even warmed up. So I did some research, and apparently it has something to do with the thermostat going out. Now, it wasn't even necessarily throwing any trouble codes, but when I finally got it to throw trouble code, it did indicate thermostat. So luckily, it's a pretty easy part to change out. It's just take off the intake, and then I think it's 2 hoses and 3 bolts right there. I found a new one at Napa. You can see 3 bolts, 2 hoses. Comes with the gasket, so that's nice. And I bought these tools. These are basically, think of them like vice grips for hoses. So basically you're gonna cinch off your hose and then pull this down so it locks in. There's a bunch of different variations of these. These are some of the cheaper ones, but I think these were under $10 for the whole set of 6. So I'm gonna use these so I don't lose all of the coolant, because coolant's pretty expensive. So let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is take off the intake manifold. There's these 2 breather valves. All you gotta do is push on this right here and then slowly work it out. There it is, no tools required. There's 1 on each side. All right. And then a screwdriver for the intake. Unscrewing this from the throttle body. You probably don't need to take this off, but I would just like it to have more room. Also, it'd be better viewing angle for you guys. Let's see. There it is. Might as well just take it off all the way, I guess. That way it's just out of the way. Ah, there it is. Victory. So we'll just set that aside. See the throttle body? Well, the throttle body could definitely use a clean. So maybe we'll clean that too. So if your throttle body is a little bit dirty, like this, with the carbon buildup on there, see how I'm able to wipe it off with my fingers? Sometimes that carbon buildup won't allow your engine to idle at a lower, and you might feel your engine kind of pulsing a little bit at lower RPM, because all that carbon starts to fill up that gap. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to take some rubbing alcohol and clean that out, and I'll probably do that before I put everything back. But now is also a really good time to double check your belts. Oh, these look pretty good. Belt tensioner looks good, everything looks good. But here's the culprit we're after right here. So it's this hose and then this hose. All right, it's got a set of pliers here. Just gonna squeeze and get that off. All right. Gonna try the bigger hose clamp. We'll see how this works. Oh, look at that, it works good. Keep as much pressure on it as you can. Hopefully that's enough so that it doesn't lose all of our fluid. So there could be fluid in this, so I'm still gonna clamp that off just in case. There it is. All right, we'll use the smaller one. All right, let's see how much fluid we lose, I guess. Oh, a little bit. Not that much though, thankfully. So just set that aside, and then this little one, I'm gonna try to pry it up, but the heat has gotten to it. Oh, there it goes. Yep, there's a little bit in that one too. All right, so now it's just taking that off. Not sure if this is fully sealed or not. I don't know if I set it up higher. Yeah, there we go. Oh, you can see it coming out of here now, though. Well, inevitably, we're going to lose some. All right, so I'm going to stop it right here. I think I should have clamped off these two hoses, and I think I would have lost a lot less fluid if I would have clamped these off. Also, I want you to watch the coolant reservoir, and you'll see how much it actually leaks down by the end. So try to change it out as quickly as possible. Just try to stop losing as much as possible. There we go. Stem the bleeding somewhat. Okay, still kind of leaking out of that breather. Let's force this on, and then we'll take this off. Put this clamp back on. There you go, that's back on. Now we'll get this back in place. All right, that's back on. Definitely gonna clamp it back in place before I release that hose. Just be careful, keep working it down. Almost there. There it is. Kind of falls back into the spot it was. All right. Yes, so I definitely recommend replacing that as fast as you can. You also want to make sure that you take out your old O-ring and force in that new one as quick as possible. Hard to tell what's actually bad on this, because I had to replace it so quickly. All right, so before I clean the throttle body, the thermostat I put in a 207 thermostat temperature when it opens. So it'll open at 207. As far as I heard, that's what's recommended for this engine, which is the 6.2 liter. Some of you may have the 5.3 liter, and some people say that the 194 is for the 5.3 liter and the 207 is for this engine. This is the Corvette engine, so I'm not sure on any of that, but as far as the research I showed, this engine requires the 207. So I guess if you want yours to run cooler, you can get the 194. But now I'm gonna clean the throttle body. So basically just taking some rubbing alcohol and then just gonna put it on some paper towels. So the rubbing alcohol should evaporate. I've noticed before when I've had like a problem with the car just sitting at idle, like at a stoplight or something like that, almost like it's like a rough idle, or it's kind of surging a little bit, where it's like the RPMs keep going up and down just very slightly. And I think that's due to all the carbon buildup in the gap, and it's not letting enough air into the engine. So by cleaning all the carbon up, it should open up that gap to where it was factory. So cleaning the edge of the throttle body, cleaning around the housing where it interconnects with. See, look at all that. I definitely recommend a cleaning product that will evaporate really quickly. You're not gonna wanna use any kind of degreasers that are gonna stay around for a while, because it'll just go right into your engine. And if you use anything too aggressive like acetone, you're gonna have to worry about all your plastics. So alcohol seems to be the best. Evaporate one of the quickest. See how you can start to see in there now? So if you're ever having like a rough idle, this should be one of the easier fixes that you should look at first, I would say. Remember, you gotta clean all the way around, as clean as possible. All right, I think that's good enough, and now we'll put the intake back on. All right, so just put it back on in the order you took it off. So put this spot on over here by the airbox first, by the mass airflow sensor. You could leave everything loose if you want, or you could just manhandle it in. And then this part right here is going to be, just make sure you got both sides in, the top and the bottom, and then level that guy out, and then tighten this down. Mainly the thing that holds it on is the friction to the throttle body. Make sure it's tight. And don't forget both of these, or else you'll probably get like an evap code. Make sure they click. All right, so both of those are clicked on. Double check everything, and just as easy as that.